Welcome back to yet another little episode of this Duramax LB7 project for my truck I call Norman. So tonight, a little bit off camera, I installed these injector harnesses and also new O-rings, where am I at? On the injectors there. So when the fuel lines are seated, that'll all seal well. If you do recall, I had, zip ties on my top harnesses, but I mentioned it probably didn't matter just because the fit and function of those was just fine. But I did keep an orange zip tie to an orange zip tie. Once again, I doubt it matters. But it's just something to help keep me in line. I have also cleaned all of the silicone out of these grooves on this upper valve cover, and then I degreased top and bottom, and I've got it to the point where it is ready to install. So I need to do that black RTV and set it on. And there we have it. One side is getting close to being done. I only snugged up these screws, and I see I missed one there. But I don't want to squeeze all the RTV sealant out of that gap. So I just snugged them up until until I could see the RTV starting to squeeze out. And I'm just going to let that tack up for probably an hour while I mess around with other stuff. And that's going to give it a time to bond the two surfaces before all the RTV gets squeezed out. And I do realize there is that gap there, and it probably would do a good job making a seal. But I've got the time, I've got other things to do, so that's what I'm going to do. So while I wait for that RTV to dry, I figured I would take a look at these up pipes and down pipe. Look how smashed that thing is. It's so flat and manufactured and not smooth flowing. I can't wait to get that bad boy on there. That's gonna be good. Same thing here, just manufactured stampings welded to pipe. Just not the best flow. So I'm going to definitely gain from these KB Performance add-ons that I'm going to be using. I do need to find a 12.12 millimeter socket to get to most of that, and I don't know if I have one. I will be obviously working on a different cab, but all that insulation there I'm sure is not very suitable for a ton of heat or sound deadening. So while I get Norman's cab off, I think I'm going to order some like Dynomat insulation and sound deadener to get up on that firewall and kind of replace everything like that. All right, take a look at that. You can see how much better this is going to flow. There's some funky bends there. A nice straight mandrel here. This is all collapsed down here. This is full diameter all the way around. Awesome TIG welding everywhere. This one's been TIG welded on the inside for optimal flow. This one's TIG welded on the outside because the exhaust is going that way, going out, so that doesn't matter. This is a really nice piece. You'll also notice, maybe in that other video, the previous little time lapse, that I had one bolt over here on the turbo pedestal that was giving me troubles. And so I ended up backing it out as far as I could and then tightening it in for a little while and then backing it out more. And it did have a little bit of a strip thread. So odds are I'm thinking that's probably a 10 millimeter thread, and I'm going to chase all of those just because, just to be on the safe side. But for now, I'm just going to leave this open. I'll plug the hole so nothing gets inside. I will take this down pipe off and the other up pipe as well. And remember, I'm going to be rebuilding this turbo, so I'm going to take it off eventually anyways. And there's no reason to keep assembling when I'm going to pull the engine. This is going to be easy to get to the bell housing bolts and everything else. Hey, you want to know a funny story? This one time I was working on a 19-year-old truck and the exhaust came apart. Like, it actually came apart with a wrench. It came apart by hand almost. It was crazy. If you're from Texas, you don't get that joke. If you're in the Midwest, you don't believe that joke. I don't know what to do. Well, anyways, I've got the exhaust apart. I did test fit that downpipe. It's going to be awesome. And I've spent enough time, I'm pretty sure I can snug up those bolts for that upper valve cover and finish assembling this side. So it's time to start installing these fuel lines, and I got them out of order. So guess what I did? I went to YouTube and I watched my video to see where these should go, and it worked out well. So like I said, I looked through my YouTube video and figured out the orientation of these fuel lines, and they're all on point. Now they're all cleaned up, but before I assemble them, I'm just going to dip these ends in a little bit of that oil that I used previously for assembly on the push rods. And reason being is I just want to make sure that that seals well and slides around in place, nothing binds up or tears. And there we have it. This side is assembled. Of course, I need to put the accessory drive back on and whatever else was bolted onto these screws here and there. I got to put all that back together, but it's sealed back up, and I am happy for that. You'll also notice I thought I was right, but this and this were mixed up. So I guess there's some type of saying that if at first you don't succeed, try again. And you'll see that I just, you know what, I said, I'm going to come back to that one. I'll do that one and that one. And then I went, oh, they're very close to the same. I'm going to switch them and see what happens. And there we go. Thanks again for following along, if you're following along. If you're not, that's fine too. Feel free to check out any of my other videos. I'm going to do my best to be informing and not as boring as possible.